You know, have you ever wondered why the word father for God is just so persistent? I mean, even after decades of really intense debate, it just hangs on. On the surface, it seems like a simple language thing, right? But the emotion it stirs up, that suggests something way, way deeper is going on. So let's dive in and see if we can figure out why.
This quote, this really gets to the heart of the mystery. It's from a young seminarian, and it's not some abstract theological point. It's raw, it's personal. And it shows you right away that for some people, this word isn't just a label you can swap out. No, it's something absolutely fundamental to who they are. So this is the real puzzle we're tackling today. And it's not just about religion. It's about psychology. Why does a single word like father carry so much emotional weight that trying to change it feels like a personal attack? Well, the answer is going to take us deep into the very process of how we become, well, us. To find our first clue, we need to turn to the work of a psychoanalyst named Julia Kristeva. And she had this really radical idea about what it even means to be a self, an idea that kind of puts our entire identity on trial. Okay, so first things first, you gotta throw out the idea that you have this single, stable core self. Kristeva says our identity, our sense of I, is never ever fixed. It's actually a continuous, pretty messy process, a constant tug-of-war between two really powerful opposing realms of our psyche. So Kristeva breaks our psyche down into these two forces. On one side, you've got the symbolic. This is the world of order, language, rules, and society. It's the realm she associates with the father. But on the other side, you have the semiotic, this chaotic, pre-verbal world of pure emotion and primal drives, the realm of the mother. Our identity is basically us, constantly trying to navigate between these two worlds. So, if we aren't just born with a solid self, how on earth do we build one? Well, according to Kristeva, the process is intense, and it all starts with this profound, almost violent act of rejection. The key term for this is abjection. It's a heavy word, I know. But the idea is that to become an I, an infant has to psychologically push away, or abject, the mother they were once completely fused with. And this isn't some gentle goodbye. It's a forceful expulsion that creates a boundary where there was none before. It's messy. It can feel horrifying, almost like rejecting a part of yourself. But it is absolutely necessary. It's how we create that fundamental border between me and not me. It's how we draw the very first outline of a self. So you can think of this like a journey in 4 steps. We start in total fusion with the mother. Then comes that crucial, really painful separation through abjection. But, an empty outline isn't a self, so then we have to borrow an identity from another, some outside figure. And only then can this fragile, tentative I start to emerge. Okay, so we separate from the mother and we identify with an other to become a self. But who is this other? This is where the whole puzzle really starts to click into place, and I'm telling you, it is not who you think it is. You see, most psychoanalytic theory points to the symbolic father. That's the figure who represents all of society's rules and laws. But Kristeva says, hold on a minute. That's not who we identify with first. That guy comes much, much later. The crucial figure, the one who makes it possible to survive that painful separation from the mother without completely shattering, is someone she calls the father of love.
And here is the absolute game changer in her theory. She calls this the imaginary father. Now, this is not our actual dad, and it's definitely not the stern father of societal law. It's this early internal figure that shows up before we even get social rules, and his only job is to be loving and protective, giving our new fragile self a safe place to land.
This figure is just fascinating when you dig into it. It exists before rules and language. Its whole vibe is loving, not judging. Kristeva even calls it a father-mother conglomerate, like a blend of both. It's like an ego on loan, a stable identity we can borrow while our own is just getting started. And in a way, it's really the mother's love, just in a clever disguise. So, here's where it all comes together. How does this deep, unconscious psychological process circle all the way back to our original question about the language we use for God?
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's completely stark. The symbolic father, the father of law, his job is to prohibit and judge. He represents the big no of society. But the imaginary father, his job is to love and protect. He represents the yes of love, born from our earliest, deepest needs.
And Kristeva herself basically connects the dots for us. She suggests that religious faith can be a kind of primary identification with a loving and protective agency.
And that this feeling of fusion with God, it repairs the wounds of Narcissus, which is just a psychoanalytic way of saying it heals the wound that was created by that first necessary separation from the mother.
And there it is. That's the answer. That powerful, emotional resistance to changing God the Father isn't just about dogma or rules. That's the symbolic world talking. No, it's an echo from the semiotic, a deep unconscious longing for that first, loving, protective, imaginary father from our infancy. Okay, so what's the takeaway here? Why does understanding this distinction actually matter in the real world? In those passionate debates happening in seminaries and around family dinner tables?
Well, Kristeva's theory suggests these endless arguments are actually a symptom. When we only try to change the words on the surface, at the symbolic level, without ever addressing the profound emotional longings that are buried underneath, well, those feelings don't just go away. They come roaring back, disguised as arguments about language. Now, this doesn't mean we shouldn't examine our language. Of course not. But it suggests that if we want that change to be truly transformative, we have to get a lot more sophisticated about understanding the deep, emotional work our words are doing for us, often completely unconsciously. So maybe that's the real challenge. Maybe to genuinely change our world, we first have to learn how to listen. To hear the hidden love stories, the deep, unconscious longings that our most stubborn words are so desperately trying to tell us.